I have a song stuck in my head. Now, this may be a beloved rewatch of the Tales of the Lost Narrator, but just expect for me to randomly just hum or just make noises that sound like a song, because this song is stuck in my head and it's going to be stuck in my head for the whole entire video. These are some ambient noises. Can't speak. Can't speak. Just can't speak.
I still think that this story of the Lost Narrator is just an old pony tale. The Lost Narrator became a piece of history and myth and lore.
I don't like
She
history.
is a narrator of stories, and those who hear them are lost. Or maybe she narrates stories because she herself is lost.
I suck at
Hardly
history.
any pony remembers curse word. The odd, lonely pony
This
who
is
left
the
her
end of the
hometown
last
and
episode.
never came back.
Well, episode.
She is a something,
Technically
not
not
some
an episode.
pony. She's just fear and regret and dark bitterness masquerading as a do-gooding incarnate. She is a lost soul. But still,
Just like me.
her fate is nothing compared to the loss of a beloved.
That's the end of the last video. Woo! Editing goes hard.
Hey there.
What's up?
It's
Hey.
alright, no need to
How you
freak
doing?
out. There you are.
I'm not
See?
freaking out.
That wasn't too bad, was it?
Oh, it was
Ponies
horrible.
tend to hype up the transition all
I'm
the
panicking.
time as this big, terrifying process, and really, it's more like, well, that. Don't worry, that strange, airy feeling will go away any second.
What
And
feeling?
There we
Wait, what?
go.
What?
I see that look on your face.
What?
You don't know
No,
me,
you don't.
and, well, you're not really supposed to. I'll just get that out right off the bat. It's always the same questions, really. Where am I? Who are you? What was up with Miss Masky Pants and all of her...
Who are you? Where am I? And what was up with the whole masky pants?
evil rage? Well, I'm stopping this one before it happens and answering all of the questions so you don't have to pester me. Okay? My name is...
Okay.
Well, my name doesn't really matter, since
I
no
know.
pony can
I know the
remember
name
it.
though. No, I know
I'm
the
just gonna
name.
come right out and say it. I'm the pony that she referred to as Beloved. No, that's not my
Yay.
actual name, but I think it's more of a nice term. It's better than my real name anyway. Oh, did I not tell
remember.
you? You're supposed to follow me, silly. Come on. I know the way.
No, I'm not gonna. First of all, I'm not gonna follow you. I'm sorry. Second of all, I remember when I first watched this, and I did not know this pony's name.
I've only walked it like a million
person
times.
ended.
What's one more? And don't worry, I don't bite. I'm just that sort of in-between guide, I guess you could say. Things
Why do
in
I
the
have a
afterlife
bite
have to be
mark
all
on my arm?
complicated. You can't just go from one place to the other. You have to journey there. It's strange, but it's true. One of the ponies who passed through here once called it purgatory. I like saying that. Purgatory. Sounds kind of neat. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not an angel. Though I did pretend to be one a couple of times. I even tried the whole thee, thy, thou thing. But it kind of blew up in my face when I accidentally let out a not so angelic word. Oh well. So
Well
by
then.
this point you're thinking, well, I'm dead. And I'm following Curse Word's dead lover to wherever I'm supposed to go. This totally
Yeah.
isn't weird at all.
I've been
Since we
dead
have
all
nothing
along.
but time up here, I guess it would probably be a good idea if I
How long have I been dead
fill in
for?
the gaps. Some ponies like to hear the whole story. They said it makes their death seem more fulfilled, I guess. Like they're the only ones in on this big magical secret about where Curse Word's lover is, and they know things that she doesn't. Kinda takes
I
the sting out
love
of dying a
knowing
little,
things
don't you
that other
think?
people don't.
So, once upon a time, a cute little filly was born, and a bunch
Okay.
of stuff happened. The end. Riveting, right?
Oh my
Alright,
god, it's the
alright.
best
I'll
story
tell you
I've
the
ever heard
real
in my
story.
damn life.
I just like to see ponies' faces after I hype it up, and then I give them that. I came
I would have
from...
laughed.
You know what?
straight up.
It doesn't really matter where I came from. None of the other events moments compared to when I met Curseword. It's probably the first and the only really true best moment in my past of any consequence.
Oh,
I
that's
ended
nice.
up in that little town, homeless. Don't ask me
Homeless.
why, and don't give me pity. I wasn't some kind of beggar pony.
I thought the name of the town was Homeless. I'm stupid.
I just didn't have a literal home. I was a wanderer. This was the first place that I felt safe. That little town had some real potential to be a home if I could just manage to get some work there. I searched all over for some kind of job, but as usual, I found myself gravitating towards bookstores and libraries.
I feel that.
Didn't
That's
you see my
understandable.
cutie mark? Yeah, I guess I was something of a writer. Doubt you'd know many of my stories, though.
Yo!
Eventually, I found the library.
Yo, me too! How you doing? My name's Mr. I'ma shut up.
And I met the paradox of a pony that was the librarian. She never had a kind word to say to me, nor did a kind deed, outside of hiring me that day. You know, I'm not even sure why she did it, though I suspect that she had some kind of intern that couldn't take her attitude and left in a huff before I showed up. Either way, she was a real pain.
I wonder what
But
I would be like
I was
as an
happy
intern.
enough just to have somewhere to belong. Then I saw her. I know, that sounds really cliche, but you're dead and I'm cursed, so if that's not cliche, I don't know what is. She was just so
No, seriously, how long
different from other
have I been
ponies that
dead?
I'd seen. I had some difficulties trusting ponies those days, but I felt myself gravitating towards this storyteller. I wish you could have seen the way those foals' eyes lit up when she brought to life the story she wove. It was like witnessing miniature fairy tales coming true right there in the comfort of the library. If I wasn't in love with this town before, I certainly was then. I honestly didn't plan on talking to her that day. I was a little too shy to do so. Actually, a lot of shy.
Nice.
I had a hard time back then talking to other ponies in the library, or even just any ponies in general.
I see. So either you're an introverted introvert or you're an extroverted introvert. Me, I am an introverted extrovert, but sometimes I like to be an extroverted introvert. You know, I'm a bit of an ambiverted extroverted inverted invovert, but introvert both.
It was during that time that I tended to keep to myself more than anything, so when I caught her eyeing me from across the room as she was telling a story to the foals, you can imagine how nervous I was. Now that I think about it, I don't even remember the story she was telling at the time, but I do remember the look in her eyes. They were gentle, deep-set. She would close her eyes and let the magic just engulf the foals as she brought the scene to life for them. And as their little hearts filled with magic, she opened her eyes and smiled back at me. It's funny because even now, just thinking about that, I still get the warm fuzzies. After she had finished her time with the foals, she trotted over.
Maybe.
She wasn't afraid to introduce herself, and soon enough, she gave me the gossip about the boss I already hated. She was so charming, I guess is the word, and I was so frazzled.
I'm more charming,
used to some
honestly.
pony being kind right off the bat. Still, I know you can already tell that I'm a talker, so it didn't take long to pretty much get me to spill the important bullet points of my story. She didn't seem bored or deterred by it either, which for me was another odd thing. Before I ended up in that little town, I wasn't really allowed to talk so much, so it was nice.
I feel that.
Have you ever heard that saying, "Mare friends move in on the second date"?
Nope,
well,
absolutely
I think we kind of
not.
started that one. She found out that I was staying in a not-so-great place. Won't go into details on that. And she opened her door. Just like that. She insisted, since I didn't really have anywhere else to go. And I...
Sorry, keep pausing. Shut up, but, what would it be like to live in a hole? I do wonder what it would be like to live in a hole. It would definitely suck. Absolutely. It absolutely suck. And I feel bad for all the people that have to live homeless, you know. This got sad. This got sad. This got too sad.
I was a proper roommate. I did my share and more of the cleaning and the cooking. kind of hoping that would compensate for the quick move. And soon enough, it was as if we'd lived in that little house together all along, and we just didn't know it.
That's
It
awesome.
just came naturally, I guess. Did you know that I'm actually the first pony to figure out curse words, special talent? The real special talent?
Ooh.
Maybe it was my love of puns that made me realize it's the words themselves that could curse. And I knew that because of her eyes. Now, before you go thinking she was always destined to ruin lives with that talent of hers, you should know, the talent was what made that town so perfect. Her power was good, and she used it for good. She just didn't know it existed, and I didn't want to upset the balance. She was kind of oblivious to things around her. Sometimes I swear she just thought she lived in this little bubble with her and I, and nothing else mattered, but I paid attention. There were little changes for other ponies here and there, or even changes to the town itself, and it was always just for the better. I saw her causing this, just by her mere words. If she said and willed it to be, it came true.
Bro,
And her eyes were the
imagine if
biggest
you guys
indication
got that
something
superpower.
awesome was about to happen. So knowing all of this, I didn't want to give her the weight of the responsibility of her own gift. I kind of took it upon myself
Understandable.
instead. If there was something that needed a little love or happiness, I would just steer her in the right direction.
It's like, hey,
somehow
there's
her
a
magic would
little
just do the
child
rest.
that wants a story.
Of course, living with her, I got to see firsthand how amazing that power was, but it wasn't the power that I loved. It was her. She had one of the
Aw.
kindest and most giving hearts of any pony in that town. And for some reason, she loved me. There was never
So
a single
sweet.
doubt in my mind just how
So
much Chrissy
sweet.
loved me. She
Aw,
really
so
did mean it when
sweet.
she said with her whole heart. To be honest, I still wonder to this day what a mare like her even saw in me. So far, everything's all happy, bright, and cheerful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you're dead, so I didn't want the first thing you heard to be dark and depressing. I guess.
Well, you're dead, so.
So, this is the part of the story that gets a little on the plot twist side.
Yes.
Nothing in life is perfect, so there has to be a catch-22 somewhere. It's not like Curse could just keep everything perfect forever. That's not how life works. This life we had built, and this town that was a slice of heaven was suddenly tainted. It was stained, like when you drop an inkwell on your coat.
Or
Curse's
when
coat was
you
darker
cheat
than
in a
mine,
speed
so
run.
it wouldn't be as obvious, but when I would drop just even the tiniest bit of ink on my pink coat, well, it wouldn't come out for weeks. It was
Tainted.
kind of the same thing. I
Tainted
had
run.
finally found a place to call my own. It was mine, and she showed up. Just another one of the mothers dropping her full off for one of the famous storytellings at the library. She didn't even see me, nor did she see the
Hey, this is piano thing. Wasn't this piano thing used in the Amazing World of Gumball Season 2? That episode called A Joy? That one episode where Miss Simeon has to like save the entire school from the joy virus because Richard Watterson, Gumball, and Darwin Watterson's dad gave them a wonder hug? God, I love that episode. God, why do I remember these things?
the pile of books that suddenly dropped along with my stomach. I wanted to run. I didn't want to be there anymore. I could feel my heart wanting to jump into my throat, and that moment,
Take a dive.
I had just found this place, and now I felt like I needed to flee from it. But I couldn't leave Curse. So I did the only other thing a logical and rational-minded mare would do. I stalked her home to see where she lived. And there it was. The
Very
perfect
natural.
little house on the perfect little lane, so perfectly placed
Very
in the heart
natural.
of her perfect little world. A pretty little garden with perfect rows of flowers out front and white painted shutters that perfectly matched the cream color of her house. It was so perfectly sickening. And fate loves
I
to
love
deal all the
perfectly
perfect little
sickening.
cards at once, right? I just happened to see her new little house stallion greet her out front with nothing but smiles. Smiles. I don't even know how she scored a
Smiles.
stallion like that. She had once told me she would never be with a stallion in all of her life. So for her,
Is this
This-
Inkwell?
oh, you don't know what house stallion means, do you? It's not really a familiar term, I know, but trust me,
It's a
if there was a
stallion.
working pony in that
Who's
household,
a
it would be her.
house?
For his sake, I prayed he could at least cook. I remember getting home that night and just how agitated and closed off I was from Curse. She couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, and it really took a toll on her. I kept trying to convince her that I was all right, and trying to force my brain to move on, but it just wouldn't. I thought I'd been healing, moving forward, that I was past all of this, but I wasn't. The thought of her just breathing the same air as me in that town made my stomach clench. I was running and hiding. I had done everything in my power to get away from that mare. And now that I'd been found, in a sense, all those fears just came crawling back like those black ink stains that never really fade away.
Ink stains? Foreshadowing? Okay, so, here's our couple of options. First of all, you have the power of curse words. Second of all, you have the power of curse word. Third of all, I'll be happy to give you a shotgun. But you didn't hear that from me. Listen, I'm just a humble man selling fruit snacks.
Way. I wanted that town to just be mine and
Fruit
Curse's.
gushers.
I didn't need her there, spreading like some black, cancerous being that I could never escape from. That night, Curse insisted on helping in some way. She hated seeing me so distraught and unnerved. It didn't help that I closed myself off to her about what was really wrong. I just kept repeating myself to her. There was nothing she could do. But even in saying that, she said she'd figure out a way. If that mare could move mountains for me, she would have. But in that moment, I realized
she probably could
there
with her
kind
words.
of was a way that she could help. You see, Curse's magic wasn't always for good. Well, obviously. Her moods often reflected mine. If I'd had a horrible nightmare or something and I closed myself off to her, it would dishearten her. My moods always seemed to spread onto her, no matter how hard I tried to keep her away from my thoughts and emotions. This would usually leave her in a pretty sour mood. The first time I can remember it actually happening, she was trying to cross the road towards the library, and this wagon ran past us, nearly trampling her and I both. I remember she screamed at the stallion pulling the wagon. "You almost hit us, you prick! I hope you crash that thing!"
She would have said something.
Curse word impression, don't you think?
She should say
It was then that her eyes
more
did that
worse
shimmer
than
thing,
prick.
and I knew that this meant trouble. I don't think the stallion heard her over the rumble of his wheels, but once Curse was in the library, the wagon actually did crash. I watched it go straight into a ravine. The poor stallion's possessions were scattered to the wind. He was okay, but I was shocked, to say the least. But it didn't take long for the shock to wear off before I realized
That's a suckable suck.
This might be the thing I need to finally move on with my life. This, Curse's power. I could use it to shatter her perfect little world. I could be free.
I was joking. Magpie, I was joking. Would you like some more fruit snacks? I got a lot of them.
All those sleepless nights trying to forget a past that continued to creep into my mind. I could actually move on.
Luigi's
be a
Mansion.
Functioning mare. Be a better mare friend.
Oh my
Curse.
god.
I wanted that more.
The song I had stuck in my head before this video started. It's not in my head. It literally exited my head as soon as the video started, and I immediately forgot about it. That is insane, bro. That is insane. That's awesome, bro. That's awesome. Happy claps, happy claps.
That more than anything. It'd have to be clever, though. Something she couldn't trace back to me, if or when she ever did see me.
Curseword, I want you to tell me a story that I wrote.
I thought
about
long
a
and
person
hard
I
for a way
hate.
to ruin her, but it wasn't until I watched her drop off her foal that it finally hit me like a brick wall. Her colt. He was just like all the other foals enchanted by my cursey stories. He'd do anything to
Oh,
impress her.
that's
And I
right.
would do anything to ruin his mother's life.
Oh,
See, Curse was in one of those moods again, and I kind of waited until she was.
bro, this
The
memory
night
just hit me like a
before,
brick.
I lied to her. I woke up in the middle of the night claiming to have another nightmare, and she, of course, wanted to stay up with me and try to help. I purposely closed myself off to her so that it would upset her. I know that sounds terrible, but I
Brother.
had my reasons. It helped that she was already kind of up in hooves over the fact that one of her foal's parents had complained. One of the recent stories she told was a bit too dark for their liking. She was so excited about the stories I had written, I think she might have accidentally taken some influence from them unintentionally. If there was one thing Curseword couldn't stand, though, it was being told that a story was bad and being told what to tell next. So I made...
Dude, same, bro. Like, being told a story is bad, it kind of upsets me sometimes. Like, if the story's mine, sometimes I'll be like, okay, alright, give me some criticism here, so, I can learn and grow, I'll be fine, if you give me some constructive criticism, but if you just say, like, story bad, goodbye, I'd be like, you know what I mean, you know what I mean, but if it's, like, a, like, objectively great story, and then somebody just, like, not gonna lie, it kind of sucked, man. It kind of sucked like a suckable suck. I'm gonna be like, what? What are you talking about? What do you? Give me a complex math equation that answers why this story is objectively bad rather than good. You know what I mean? You know what I mean.
They have suggested to that little colt that he insist on a new story for her to tell. It just kind of worked to my benefit that he didn't like the ones she was telling at the time anyway. And I also may have told him to use colorful language that he'd heard her use a few times when she thought she was out of earshot.
Magpie.
Come on, her name is Curseword. To some degree, I thought she might get a good laugh out of that. On a good day. But this wasn't a good day.
It was a terrible
so instead,
day.
She snapped.
Terrible day.
The way she glared at that little colt. Her eyes have never been that bright before. They almost glowed a fiery red. So much that the little colt could have just burst into flames at that moment.
I would have done.
I'd never seen her that angry before. I know Curse. Even though she threatened him with his mother and soap, she would have ripped into that child. But it was all worth
having
it to
child
me at
for
the time.
dinner.
I didn't care. I wanted to ensure that I got results. Later that night, I made Curse dinner, and I tried my best to comfort her, but it was kind of hard to do based on the fact that I was over the moon. It was just a matter of time now. I could imagine the next day hearing from the locals that the little colt had broken his foreleg or something. Anything to shatter that perfect little world of hers. I wanted to relish in her agony. And I did. That night, I was pretending to be sleeping. I finally heard the scream. The one that I had been waiting to hear since I planned this. I'd never felt so much satisfaction and relief all at once. I heard her panicked, terrified wails echo through the town.
I love dramatic irony. Don't you just love it? I love it.
And for once, she was the one who was hurt. She was the one who was crying and distraught. She was the one who was ruined. But then I heard that little colt scream. It hit me. His high, piercing screams I still can't seem to forget to this day. Why was he screaming? What exactly had Curse's power done?
His foreleg.
Something had happened, and
It hurt
I
real
caused
bad.
this. I'd have given anything to take it back. Curse was the one shaking me awake to see if I'd heard it. She insisted something was wrong and that we needed to follow the screams. I raced with her to the town to see what had become of the poor thing, and...
Yeah.
Well, this part you know.
Yeah.
I couldn't bring myself to go upstairs with her to see what had happened.
Yeah.
I could hear curse words screaming, demanding to know why. It was then that I heard a thud and a crash. I remember how silent everything was after that. Deafening, and it lingered over that whole night. Curse slowly came back down as we waited outside for the authorities and the other town's ponies. She told me that she had punched the mare upstairs and knocked her out. If I had known it was that easy,
Whack.
I would have just told her everything from the beginning. I still remember the look on her face. She blamed herself for this. All of it. Things got worse from there.
Yeah.
I receded, punishing
we
myself in
both broke our
silence for the
forelegs.
horrendous act that I had created. It was all my fault, and I couldn't bring myself to tell Curse. I couldn't tell any pony what I'd done. If I did, Curse would have been at fault as well, and I didn't want to ruin what little we did have left of this perfect life. Yes, she was now being punished for murdering her.
You tried to destroy a perfect life, but instead you destroyed her perfect life and your perfect life. Whew. Man, though, it's gonna be so freaking sweet when we get to the finale, though. Oh, I am ready for the finale. Bro.
Her own foal, but at what cost? Not only did I end a precious, innocent life, but now Curse, she'd been tainted. Not to mention she was aware of it now, her power, and became obsessed with it. All that time, I tried to keep the burden from her shoulders was nothing. And no matter what I tried, she wouldn't let it go. She just kept going on and on and on about it. It was cute that she thought I had no clue. I'd known about it all along. There were so many secrets between the two of us.
Bro, my foreleg is
so
about to be
perfect
broken.
On the outside, but deep down, we held on to these stupid secrets because we thought it would hurt one another if we knew the truth. When you have time, like me, to think things over, eventually everything seems to become crystal clear. The night when it happened, I remember that probably clearer than anything else. It was our anniversary. We always celebrated it. It meant so much to her, too,
the anniversary
considering how
broke
she
its
was
foreleg.
with me. She never, and I mean never, forgot about that. How could she? It was silly for me to get so upset about that. And at that point, she had just reached her limit. She wasn't...
Yeah. I feel like at this point, curse word, forgetting the anniversary, it calls for more worry rather than anger. But still how everything turned out, it's still very understandable of how both sides reacted and such.
Wasn't taking care of herself, and she was so paranoid about everything she did. She closed herself off, and I just couldn't sit there and take it anymore. I mean, I worked so hard that night to try and cheer her up.
Just whack her.
When she showed up at the door with nothing except a dumbfounded look on her face, I just lost it. I got so frustrated and angry. But when I really think about it,
pain really is a
angry
feature.
At her for forgetting the anniversary. I was angry at myself. I had caused this. I had caused her to turn into this shell of a pony. So I lashed out at her, and I didn't hold back. I had just had enough of everything. But so had she. I hated the fact that she found out about that power. And I hated that she had come to this town. Of all the towns.
God dang
I
it!
hated the fact that I dwelled on something
Shay!
so horrible that I couldn't even realize I had something amazing in front of me. I had become consumed by it. Kirst just stood there.
And it's
I
hot
could
in
see
this
her
room.
wincing at my words. They stung. She
Stung
tried her
like
best
a
not to
bee.
raise her voice at me, but every pony has their limits. It wasn't until I accused her of not truly loving me that I really hurt her. It's such a silly thing to even think about. I mean, she's still searching for me after all these years. I was just running high on emotions, and let's be honest, I wasn't thinking. It was then that Kirst shouted back at me. And those eyes of hers, those crimson eyes just glimmered, and I stared unblinking.
You done messed
It
up
was in that
now.
exact moment that I knew what she had done.
You done
She
messed up
shimmered
now.
so intensely, far more than any other time I had seen. And when she stormed off upstairs, that's when
It's like that one meme. You missed the X on the mobile game ad by 0.1 pixels. Looks like you're going to the App Store, Jimbo. This is what happened to Magpie. She got sent to the literal Shadow Realm.
That's when everything began to fade to black. That murky black ink began to spread everywhere.
Ink.
I was screaming, yelling for her to come back.
Inkwell.
It was already too late. And you know, it was my own fault, too. Everything that happened up to that point was on my shoulders, and it was my weight to carry. I had destroyed anything left when I used her for the sake of my own petty revenge.
Personal
All
gain.
in all, it was a fair punishment for the crime I committed. I was convinced that this was...
Fair I mean, yeah, it is a pretty harsh punishment. What you did was, yes, very, very bad and wrong and very terrible here. Then, actually, no, then again, if you play it by Christianity rules, if you murder somebody and you kind of just don't really, you murder somebody, you're going down to the HE double hockey sticks. It is more harsh of a punishment than this, just kind of being in the Shadow Realm and forced to kind of just see ponies just kind of guide them to the afterlife. Yeah, this is a whole heck of a lot better what Magpie is doing right now than being in hell for eternity. I would say hell is definitely a worse punishment. So when you look at it that way, I just now realized the boy. You guys gotta understand. My memory is absolutely horrible sometimes, and even though I watched the last video like last week, I don't remember exactly if the boy died or not. I'm pretty sure he did. But what if he didn't? No, he did. He did. It's clearly like implying that he did die, right? It's clearly implying. You know, he didn't break a foreleg. He broke 2 forelegs, causing. That's too dark of a joke. I'm gonna move on.
Well, you know, the place you go in the downward direction. The thing is,
Yeah,
I still see her
let's just talk about
sometimes.
that.
I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. The murkiness occasionally fades away, and I can see her. I thought it was the murkiness just fooling me, like tempting me with something I can't have, but it really was her. She looked so miserable. I watched her as she changed into that bitter, hollowed thing that you saw earlier. She can't see me. She can't hear me either, despite how much I've tried calling out to her. I've watched her this whole time. The times she's traveled trying to find me, the moments she thought she was genuinely alone, crying to herself about how she ruined me. Us.
Man.
This was the worst torture of all. Watching her fall further and further away from what she was because of
The
me.
downward spiral.
If only I could just tell her that I'm right here. I haven't left her side this whole time. Well, with the exceptions of guiding you ponies to the other side, but
So much
she doesn't get it.
meaning to that.
I'm still here. I'm always going to be here. What I wouldn't give to just say that I'm sorry and that I still love her. And yes, even with her looking like that, I don't care. She'll always be my Kersey. It was around the time when she really started lashing out at other ponies that they started showing up here. You know, the dead ones.
Yeah,
For
like
a second,
me.
I honestly thought that I was dead, but
I'm
it wasn't until I
dead.
tried to follow one of them to the other side that I realized I'm just stuck. I can't go anywhere. I'm always here, waiting for something to change. Maybe she needs to do something on her end, or maybe there's something on mine. Either way, I'm not able to leave this black murkiness. But you know what? Being a downer doesn't get a pony anywhere. So I have to believe that there's a way for me to get out somehow.
Yeah.
I guess you could say
That's
I
a
still
good way
have
to look
some
at
kind
it.
of hope. Not much of it, mind you. But still.
Wait.
And it was apparent.
So if you have hope that you can get out, why can't I? Can I just like stay with you, kind of just chill with you, you know, keep you company, you know, and you know maybe I could be alive again? That would be nice, you know. Yeah, I got 5 stacks of fruit gushers right here in my jacket that's dead. You could have them all.
Very quickly, this place doesn't work the same as Equestria. Time doesn't mean anything here.
Cool.
I met pony number 711, and he was born 300 years apart
been
from you, number
counting?
712. Don't bother me with
712.
your name. I won't remember it anyway. Still, I did get to see Curse's regression on a fairly time-correct scale.
What if I want to tell
It
you
broke
my
my
name?
heart every time. She's become this broken husk of what she was, wearing that stupid mask and just hurting all of those ponies. Part of me even wonders if she feels remorse anymore, like she's been consumed with sorrow. I don't think she knows right from wrong, or even cares. I knew there was no going back when she killed that first group of travelers. All she wanted to do was relive those good years, but of course they weren't going to have any of that. You know, she doesn't even try to tell them stories like that anymore. The nice ones of memories of her and I. It's always just grim and death now. I miss the stories brought to life. Not just by magic with her horn, but by the magic inside all of us. I hope that anything was possible.
Magic of French.
I guess what I'm trying to say is,
But
I'm
more
trying
than
to right
friendship.
that wrong. You're dead. She killed you with her own words, and that's why I'm here. To help you poor ponies get somewhere where these stories can't hurt you anymore.
I wonder how I died.
Well, here's our stop.
No.
See, I've got this thing timed out perfectly for our little journey here.
No.
I
don't
hope that
wanna
answered a few of your
go.
questions, though
No.
I'm sure you have hundreds more.
I
And I want you to
wanna
know
go.
that I am sorry. Sorry that you had to cross over to this. Sorry that you had to hear one of the twisted tales I wrote those many years ago.
I mean, it was a
I'm
great
sorry that-
story. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, that I lied.
What?
Well, I wasn't lying about my story. It would kind of be difficult to lie about all of that. It's true. But remember that light that you were headed towards earlier?
You
Well, I couldn't
chicken
have you
nugget.
wandering off towards it. You're far
You
too important to me
chicken
for that.
nugget.
Besides, ponies who end up here always seem to love hearing stories. What better way
You
to get you to
dried
follow
up
me than with a story?
sidewalk.
You have been a very good listener, pony number 712. There are some ponies who don't always listen to me the whole way. They leave and they follow that light in the middle. So rude. But not you. No, you stayed and you listened, and now you're here. Oh, you should know,
What if
I've
I
kind
wasn't
of
a
made a
bad
little bit of a deal
person?
that I have to hold up my end of the bargain. The more souls I get, the happier he is. And the happier he is, the sooner I can
He.
get back to be with my beloved again.
Yeah, I
I
don't
need to break
remember
this
it.
curse so that I can fix everything. You know, he even said if I get a few more, I might be able to completely revert her back. So, if anything, your death wasn't in vain. At least you got to hear a story again before the end. Who doesn't love a good story? So, I am sorry, but I guess I always like the grim and gory stories more for a reason.
Hi, my name is Mr. MLP, and I'm currently being tossed 712 feet down below into the depths of screams that looks like hell, but instead is just a giant monster filled with garbled pieces of ponies strapped together and this one monstrous little blob. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Well, it's actually a pretty funny story. Oh, why did you kill me again? You did the Dr. Eggman, where he's going to kill me and then kill me again. I feel like a Lego brick that's been chewed on by a dog.
Blood and viscera. That was all that was left around the single mare that stood in the middle of the campsite. Her head hung low as she trembled silently. The only movement within sight came from the fiery embers that dimly lit the surroundings. Broken bodies had created a bloodbath, staining the ground with their tattered remains. The stench of gore filled her nostrils as she took slow, steady breaths. She lifted her head slightly, watching the fire intently with her glowing, crimson eyes. They did not move or waver from the dancing flame as they shone through the tattered leather mask that remained on her face. That mask, old, bloody, and ruined, just like her. Those simple thoughts ran through her mind as she shut her eyes, listening to the howling of the night. Her weathered, torn cloak flailed about, the wind rushing around her. She slowly lifted her forehoof to her muzzle, dragging it along the end of the worn leather. The stitching held together the opening of where her mouth would be, sealing it completely. She wondered how ponies could hear her words through such a mask. Things like that didn't matter anymore. Nothing did. All that mattered was that she was alone. Nothing would undo what she had done. She knew that too much time had passed for any form of redemption. She was a damned soul. When she gradually opened her eyes, she had been given a new clarity of the world. No longer was it shrouded in darkness, nor did she have a limited point of view. She glanced down and realized something was in her hoof. That wretched piece of cloth laid in the center of her hoof. Empty eye sockets staring back at her as she regarded it, dumbfounded. She took her forehoof and ran it along her bare muzzle. She could feel the wind brushing gently over her cheeks as tears began to fall from her yellow, crimson eyes. As she began to sob harder, a ghostly figure of a pink mare stood before her, a sad expression upon her face.
Soon, Kersey.
I
will find you. I promise.
The mare whispered to herself as she watched her beloved shout to the heavens, demanding an answer.
This is about to be some good voice acting. Hold on.
Magpie was.
Where is she? Where is she?
tinglies, man. God is so good, man. Oh, it's so painful sometimes, man. God, okay. I held these thoughts in for like the whole entire video, but oh my god. The writing in this is so good. It just keeps, I don't know how, but it keeps your attention for the whole entire duration of the video. It just does. I don't know why. I also love just how you hear curse words side of the story first, and then you hear Magpie's side of the story first, and I love how they connect so well in the way the new information is revealed. It just feels so genius, so masterful. The fact that these two separate little stories conjoin to create one singular story, that it's just, oh, I hate how I can't explain and describe my thoughts well, but it's just so great how they connect in this way. And I love just the subtle and not so subtle foreshadowing that we'll get to eventually. Like, oh, knowing what happens, it definitely brings some, it feels different, man. It feels different. I definitely remember a lot more after that. And there's one other, oh yeah, I remember. I also find it really interesting how you take away all the fiction stuff, change the story up a little bit, and some of these parts really feel like they can just be part of real life. Like, they actually happen. And I feel like it kind of plays, I feel like it's more of a strength to the story. Just, I don't know, man. It's just awesome, man. It's just awesome. Now to end this video, I will do the song that was stuck on my head before recording this video. It was, actually, I'm not gonna say the name, but, it's like, if somebody in the future ever knows what that song is, good job. Like, seriously though, good job. Also, get a life, you freak.